All right, sitting here with Therma. We got a project coming out, 11/11. I guess we might post this after, so it might already be out. Actually, I think I'm posting after it, so yeah, we'll edit as needed. But I guess from the beginning, I guess kind of give some of the I get some of the breakdowns. People who don't know the basics. As an artist, I'm 7 times 3 equals 21. So this is me on the vocals, Thermal on the production, the cuts, and the engineering. We got M Pines on the art, and we got Sean Doe on the additional art layout. That's kind of the team around it. But this was like really a collaboration between Therma and I. Man, it's kind of. I'll get into this later, but I consider this in my like starting to do music again, my first official collaboration because of how we did it. So I want to get into that at some point. But first, can we just start off with how you first got interested and started in just like pursuing music as an interest? What was that thing for you?
Oh man, it started when I was really young. I went on a business trip with my dad to Nashville to a work convention, and there was a band, one of the bars. And the minute I saw people playing live, I was just hooked on it. And so from that point on, it was honestly country music and blues at first when I was really young. And then I bought Gangsta's Paradise, a Coolio cassette single from Half Price Books.
R.I.P. Coolio.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. And from that point, I got really into skateboarding and snowboarding and rollerblading. And in all of their videos, they had really good underground hip hop. And it was like Wu-Tang, the Beatnuts I heard in there for the first time. And then the pivotal point was on this video. I still have it.
I've never seen that one. I'm pretty sure I'm aware of that one, but I don't think I've ever seen it though.
1597 by Actor on this. And I heard that song, and that was what solidified my love for hip hop, and it was just game on from there. And then it took me a long time to make the jump into production. It was like 2008, I think.
Okay.
I was in like a big transition point in my life, moving back home from Colorado after high school.
Okay.
And I was just going troubled times, and I needed something to try, so I went and got myself some equipment, like a MIDI drum pad, and started learning from there.
That's literally my return to music. Like I made music from like 10 to, well, I started making when I was 12. I started rapping when I was 10 and made music from 12 to 2001 for 21 years. And I stopped for 21 years and then started making it because I was going through a dark time a couple of years ago. And I'm like, okay, here's something I know that I can do. So I can definitely relate to that. And it's funny, the Coolio thing too. So now I'm learning the different ways our stories interact, because not my first, but my second ever interview I ever did was Coolio. Yeah, like, for the Fly Paper in Chicago. So I interviewed Curious was my first interview, and Coolio was my second. So early on in our decision, that was like my first time, being a writer. So like my first two times was like those two interviews. So like early on in both of our journey, Coolio was a part, so shout out Coolio. So from there, you get started production around 2008. What is it that led you to IPR?
I actually saw a commercial for IPR after I had been dabbling in, I had Reason at first, and I was trying to rap at that point.
Okay.
But not that great at writing. And so I was like, I think I can really get into this production thing, but I don't have any idea where to go. And I was sitting in a basement, all of a sudden an IPR commercial came on, and I just remembered the number, called them, got some info, did the tour, and then I started there 4 or 5 months later.
Oh wow! So you just quit. You jumped in.
Just jumped right in, yeah.
That's funny because I didn't. You have a good voice, so that you probably have a good voice for rapping. So that the writing's just holding you back, man. You gotta get you a ghostwriter, man. It's standard. Nearly.
A couple times for IPR projects, me and my friend would do most of the writing.
Awesome. Okay, so you already know. So for those who don't know, IPR, the Institute of Production Recording, is a wait, is or was? Is it still there?
So they moved, and then I think they might be on their exit plan.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. So if it's still there, but Institute of Production Recording, college, recording engineers, a lot of like, we did a rhyme search class there for a while. That's what I taught there. That was my connection. So I got asked, I did IPR for like 10 years, and I think I started around 2008, but like something like, no, maybe it's before that. I can't remember. I did it for like 10 years. And, and so Therma was one of my students at some point. So do you have any particular memories about like, with that class and kind of the connection there? And like, how far along were you when you took that class? How long you had been there?
I was about 3/4 of the way through.
Okay.
I think there was like 6 quarters or something like that, but it was towards the end. I think you had to be 3 or 4 quarters in.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But that was my favorite class there, hands down. That the sound design with James Patrick, those were kind of the 2 game changers for me, where I realized I didn't want to go and record bands necessarily. Producing bands in the way of traditional songwriting. Okay. I was really focused on just that solo in my studio alone beat making mission, how to sharpen that knife.
I think I told you part of the story. I don't know the whole story, but I knew that I followed you on Instagram. I knew that because I try to always pay attention, just like music in general, and then also people who I know from different walks, including class. But the day that this all started was I was in a mode where was looking for different production sounds to challenge my writing. I want to try different sounds to write to, and so I would just go on IG and look for anything with an MPC or any kind of beat machine that looked like it made the kind of beats I like. And I would just click play. Before I even would look at who it was, I would just look for the machines. And that one day I clicked on it, didn't even look that it was you. I commented, I would love to rhyme to a beat like this. And then you responded, and I was like, oh, I know this person. So kind of like right then, were you at that point? I don't even think we talked about this, but at that point, were you just kind of like, you were just like doing like a little series, right? You were like kind of sharing like videos kind of regularly at that time, weren't you, or something like that? Yeah. So what was that?
I normally, I like going. I just make a quick video of it and throw it up there and put some hashtags under it and see if people like it. And it's also a reminder to me of which beats I should probably keep if I can't remember. But yeah, I got my MPC one probably 6 months ago. I started on an MPC in 2008. Okay. And then I pure Ableton head for like a decade. And then 6 months or 7 months ago, I bought an MPC one, and I was like, oh man, I've missed this. So I just started making beats and
there it is.
Them to somebody needs to hear this.
No, that's perfect. Cause like that was, it was dope because it was kind of, even though I still didn't even recognize, I didn't even look who it was before I made the comment. I was like, I hope if they see this and they're into it, they send me this beat. Like, I didn't want to say it. I didn't want to be greedy, but you did. I was like, oh, he sent me the beat. Okay, this is good. So, wait, that was Murmur. That's the first song we did, right? That was the first one, I believe. I'm pretty sure I think we did them in opposite order.
Murmur was a different one. What did we call that one? Not Weight of a Feather, Murmur, and then...
Don't Matter. Emotional, yeah. I thought Murmur was first. If I'm correct, I think it's actually in reverse order because it's funny. The whole time, I don't know if I told you this either. The whole time I intended it to... Yeah, I know, because I was planning I wrote them what I thought was going to be the order. And actually, I reversed it the last minute for a funny reason that we may get to. I don't even know if you know this either. It's hilarious. But yeah, so I'm pretty sure Murmur was the first one we did. So that in mind, you kind of touched a little bit about the MPC, but kind of break down what your studio setup is and what's your setup first, then we get into the process next.
Yeah, so it's on front, you can't see it, but now I'm working with MPC X, and then I run all of those individual outs into a Tascam Model 12, which is a 12-channel mixer. And I just have a turntable, a mixer. I have an Ableton push and some random synths, but right now I'm focused on sample-heavy stuff.
Yeah, I see that's a collection of records, I believe, behind you. If my eyes aren't deceiving me, right? Or those books?
Records.
Okay. Gotta have the records, man. So yeah, you also you got busy on the cuts on there too. So you do some DJing too.
Yeah, that came shortly after the Rhyme Sayers class when I started making beats, and actually Rob Most class.
Yeah,
he started to Concrete Jungle in the record room, and that's when I got introduced to dubstep and drum and bass. And then going and hanging out there and watching those as DJ, I was like, I have to try that. And so then I slowly incorporated production and DJing, which led me down, just playing dubstep shows for quite a long time.
So I know you've done some solo stuff. Like, what are some of the solo releases, or if you got anything coming up on the solo tip or other collaborations? What's some things we can go find more Therma?
My last release was on the Shakara project out of the UK, and that was like a liquid drum and bass release, and I think that came out last December. And then before that, I worked under the alias Nicky Boy Floyd from 2008 to 2021. And then there just came a point in time where I was listening to that music and I was like, I got to move on from that. Like it didn't sound like what I was making, to the point where I was like, I have to change my name and just start a new chapter. You can find a handful under Nicky Boy Floyd. It's all dubstep and some weird stuff in there.
Okay.
My next goal is to start releasing these instrumental beats I'm making and just do them in 2 or 3 or 4 songs at a time, and just do them in chunks and just put them out to the world to stream instead of hoarding all of them.
Yeah. Now it's easy to just get caught up. That's kind of the two things there, because one, the name change thing, I knew that because the same thing. I was like, the names I had before, I was like, okay, I need a new identity. And so that's why it came with the 7 times 3 equals 21. Yeah, so there's a couple of things. I'm just learning that we have like these similar paths kind of going on. So that's dope. Let's talk about the project. Yeah, okay. We talked about how it kind of came together, but the collaboration part is what I don't know what your experience has been with collaboration, but so far I've done a few different things with other producers. But just what I've done so far is I've got permission to rhyme over existing beats. Just because I got a project coming out with EC Illa, all his beats, it's previous release beats. The one I just dropped, Soul Merger, A1, they were like beats he had since 15 years ago. I just been looking for things to write to. And so there's been some collaboration in that too, but for the most part, it was just like, can I rhyme to this beat? And they're like, yes, but for us, it was more like, I liked it because it was, you were sending beats, and then I was even sending something. I would rhyme to different beats and like send you like, what do you have that could fit this vibe? And you would come back with something. And then I like the idea of just kind of going back and forth, and you would give feedback on the verses. Oh, you should try this, or maybe fix the flow here. And that was like cool to have that kind of like that energy going back and forth. So how about you? Like, do you have a certain way where you like to collaborate? And like, what is a great collaboration look like to you?
Just that open communication, I think, is just like honest feedback and just getting things out there right away. And if you're not feeling something, or if you're really feeling something, I think just say that up front. And I've had mixed experiences with collaborations for that exact reason.
Exactly. Yeah. All right. So I know that people have already seen it, but this is what it is we're talking about here. We're talking about Cage Dark. Them Pines on the art. You can't really probably say it great because kind of blocked out with the glare. But the art is great. M. Pines is a person who I just known for a while from just being around the hip hop scene and Minneapolis, and then I just been recently seeing like kind of similar to like situation with you, like just like I don't know if I'm just noticing it more. M. Pines has got more active on IG, but every day he was just posting every day of paintings. I was like, that's great. And one thing, so you make music, you're always thinking about, the music is like the forefront, but you're like, okay, at some point I'm going to need some art. I got to think about art at some point. And so like, I'm always like, when I see anything with interesting art, I'm like, okay, I'm going to screenshot that, bookmark that. And so I'm like, I'm going to hit M. Pines for something. I don't know what. And then when this and just how it came out, I was like, yeah, this is sort of like it's like kind of I consider this like more of an abstract approach for me. It's different production than reminds me of like some of what I was doing in the late 90s, early 2000s, in the sense when I was rhyming to like gel beats and I was talking like 6/2 and like odd nostom. It's not the same, but it's like kind of in a similar vein of that stuff. So I'm like, okay, this is not completely unknown to me, but it's definitely a little different. And one thing that caught my attention is that one of my bigger things that I use to get inspiration is Mantronic's Music Madness album from '86, and there is some elements about that in your production that I like. Okay, I don't know how much you are if you listen to Mantronics, but like, okay, there's something in there that I can kind of appreciate in some of these songs, which I mentioned referencing in the first track, like, you know, about the edits and stuff like that with Latin Rascals and Chip Nunez. So let's talk about some of the inspirations, like, you know, like just like in general for you, like what inspires you to make the music you make, and then if there's anything particular that was inspiration in terms of the music you made for this, if there's anything particular.
Man, now I'm just the music I listen to is the most inspiration, I think. Honestly, Instagram too, being able to see so many producers in such a short amount of time, and just it's like being able to see like a beat battle at any time, and you're like, whoa.
Yeah.
You're like, studio, you're like, I like the beat I made, and then I just hop on my phone real quick. I'm like, oh, that's real. Go back down and make another one.
Yeah.
But now, I just go back and listen to DJ Shadow introducing, and that one always, every time I listen to it all the way through, I'm just ready to go make music. Just the drum work and everything he did on there, like Midnight in the Perfect World, when those scratches comes in, I'm just...
When you have those certain records like that's to me, like I said, when I have like, depending on what I'm writing or recording, artists I listen to, like Mantronic's the album, that one's one of them, but I go back to a lot of, and they're all like albums that people probably would not think, you know, if you let you know me, like Funky Town Pros, Reaching Level Assassination, Queen Mother Rage, Vainglorious Law. Like there's just certain ways they flow the beats. I'm just like, okay, I want to just tap in, because that's what I do anyway. So I look for like artists. Divine Style is another one. So it's like, you know, those are some of the ones I think I like. Even listening for this record, I was like, okay, let me, you know, kind of dive into what inspires me to write or flow a certain way. So yeah, that's dope how it all came together. So yeah, we got Caged Dart. We got a lyric video for a track. This is probably coming out, already out right now, for Murmur.
It's very important.
Oh, okay. Boom, on you.
And this is just these kind of colliding worlds a little bit, but we did the Rhymesayers class, and then I interned at Fifth Element for like a year and a half, I think.
Yeah.
That's where at Fifth Element at Atmosphere meet and greet for I think it was To All My Friends was coming out, and they did a meet and greet, and that is where I met my wife. So it was so weird to have things start with that 1597 track, and then like 20 some years later I'm at Atmosphere's meet and greet and I meet my wife. I'm like, you can't make it up.
Yeah. Look at that. It's just the magic just keeps happening. I don't think we can top that. That's like, everyone go out and support Caged Dart. This was, thank you for sitting down with me, man. Like I said, this was a great collaboration. You just like, you have a great ear for, in general, but like the sound of your production. So I definitely want to stay tuned. We're going to keep people up to date with what you're working on for sure, man. This is dope.
Yeah, it's good to talk to you.